So, what is the meaning of reproduction, or what is the definition of reproduction? All living organisms produce individuals of their own kind for the survival of their species is called reproduction. Or reproduction means producing young ones of the same kind. Here, all the living organisms produce individuals of their own kind for the survival of their species. The species means what? Species means it is a particular type of organisms living in a particular area. You can study more things in the higher class that we call as a species. Here all the kind of organism having that capacity to increase their number, that is through the reproduction process. First, binary fission. Lower organisms like bacteria reproduce asexually by the method of binary fission. Here binary means two, fission means splitting. In this method, the nucleus splits or divides into two, and then the cell splits across the middle, forming two small identical cells called the daughter cells. Here bacteria body, in that the first nucleus will become elongate and it divides, it become two nucleus. After division of the nucleus, the cell start to divide. In the center it start to divide, and at the finally the cell divides into two. In that two cells also we can see the nucleus. That two cells we call as a daughter cell. Means from a single body we will get the two new cells. In some organisms like chlorella and chlamydomonas, one cell divides into four daughter cells. This process is called multiple fission. Binary means two, a single cell divides into two, that is binary fission. Here sometime, especially in the chlorella and chlamydomonas, single cell divides, it gives rise to a four daughter cells. At a time it gives rise to a four daughter cells, that we call as a multiple fission. Here fission means dividing of the cell.
Next, budding. Budding is a process in which buds grow on the outside of the parent body. A small outgrowth takes place from the parent body. That outgrowth is called bud. Here, when this bud become independent existence, then it separate from the parent body. When the bud will become big enough for independent existence, it will separate from the parent body and it grow as a new organism. Good example we can see in Hydra. Here in the Hydra body, a small outgrowth takes place. That outgrowth is called as bud. Bud will get the nourishment from the parental body. When they grow, when they become independent existence, then it separate from the parent body, and that bud will grow and become a new Hydra organism. Good example is in Hydra. Next, sexual reproduction in human beings or animals. In human beings, the reproductive system is highly developed. The reproductive organs are different in a male and a female. Most animals reproduce sexually. In sexual reproduction, the male and female produces special type of reproductive cells. Male produces the male gametes or sperm cells, and the females produce the female gametes or the egg cells or ova. When the sperm fuses with the ovum, fertilization occurs. After the fertilization of an ovum by a sperm, a cell called the zygote is formed. The zygote grows by cell division and produces an embryo. The embryo finally grows to become a new individual. Here you know the process of fertilization. Fertilization means fusion of male and female gametes. When the fusion of sperm and egg takes place, it forms a zygote. That zygote grows in the female body and turns into embryo, because the zygote undergo the continuous cell division. Cell division means if one cell is there, it divides it from 2 cell. 2 cell again divides it from 4 cell. 4 cell again divides it from 8 cell. So like that division of the cell takes place. So after the division of the cell, so it produces a embryo. This embryo finally grows in the female body and it gives into a new individual. Differences between asexual and sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, there is no gametes. There is no formation of gametes in the asexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, gametes are formed. In asexual reproduction, no mixing of genetic material, therefore no or less variation in offsprings. In sexual reproduction, genetic mixing takes place, so we can see the variation. In asexual reproduction, normally more offsprings are produced. In sexual reproduction, fewer offsprings are produced. Fewer means less offsprings are produced. In asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved. In sexual reproduction, 2 parents are involved. One is male and is a female. In asexual reproduction, it is a rapid process. It takes place during favorable condition. In a favorable condition, asexual reproduction takes place very rapidly, means fast. Sexual reproduction, it is a slower process. So these are the major differences between the asexual and sexual reproduction. Next, reproduction in humans. The organs of the reproductive system are divided into the primary and accessory parts. First, primary reproductive parts. It includes gonads. That is, in the male, testes, and in the female, ovaries. Gonads, which produces the sex cells, means gametes. In the testes, in male it produces the sperms, and ovaries in female it produces the eggs. These testes and ovaries, they comes under the primary reproductive parts. Next, accessory reproductive parts. Accessory reproductive parts include all those structures, ducts and glands which help in the transfer and mating of the 2 kinds of sex cells, leading to fertilization and in the growth and development of the egg up to the birth of the baby. Here, the parts other than the gonads which are involved in the reproduction process, that parts are called accessory reproductive parts. It may be the some of the body organs, ducts, glands, so which are involved in the fusion fertilization, that is fusion of male and female gametes up to the birth of the baby. Which are the parts are included, that parts are called accessory reproductive parts. Next, male reproductive system. In the male reproductive system, we can see the following organs as well as the glands. We can see testes, vas deferens, urethra, penis, accessory glands. First one is testes. There are 2 testes located outside the body in a sac called scrotum. Testes is the plural, testis is the singular. There are 2 testes are present. The testes are located outside in the abdominal cavity in a sac that is called as a scrotum. It is surrounded by a bag-like structure that is called as a scrotum. Each testis contains a number of coiled tubes in which sperms are produced. Inside the testis, we can see a mini coil-like structure that we call as a seminiferous tubule. So in that sperms are produced. The sperms producing tubes in each testis join together to form a epididymis. Epididymis nothing but, so when the sperm producing tubes are there, when it join, then it is called as a epididymis. It is a mass of coil-like structure, that is epididymis. And this epididymis, it is become a cap-like structure over the testis region. Testis produces a very large number of sperms at one time. At one time, it produces a millions of sperms. Okay, why the testes are located in the scrotum region? Why it is surrounded by this sac-like structure? Because in such arrangement, the testes are at a temperature which is 2 to 3 degrees Celsius lower than that of the body temperature. This is the most suitable temperature for sperm production and development. For the production and development of the sperms, it requires a temperature below the temperature of our body, nearly 2 to 3 degree below the or lower the temperature of our body. That's why the testes are located in the scrotum region. In the scrotum, the temperature is always lower than our body temperature. So that temperature is suitable for the production of and for the development of the sperms. That's why the testes are located in the scrotum region. In the embryonic stage, the testes are contained within the abdomen. They descend into the scrotum shortly before birth. An abnormal condition results when they do not descend, and it leads to sterility, means incapability to produce the sperms. So during the birth of the baby, this abdomen, it descends into the scrotum region through this inguinal canal. So it descends into the scrotum region. So sometime in the this testis will not descend into the scrotum region. At that time, it leads to the sterility, especially in the birth of the male baby. Just before the birth condition, this testis descend into the scrotum region. But sometime if it not descend, it leads to the sterility, means the testis is not able to produce the sperm. Structure of testis. Each testis is encased in a capsule which is internally partitioned into 15 to 20 lobules or segments. In the testis, we can see 15 to 20 lobules or segments. The first, seminiferous tubule. The seminiferous tubules, they are the tubules, they produce the sperms. So in the diagram, you can observe yellow color. In the lobules, the coil-like structures are there. That is called seminiferous tubule. Its main function, it produces the sperm. The process of production of sperm is called spermatogenesis. The process of production of sperm is called spermatogenesis. In the seminiferous tubule, the production of the sperm takes place. Next, interstitial cells. Interstitial cells are the cells which are packing tissues between the coils of seminiferous tubule. Between the coils there is a gap is there, so it is filled by the interstitial cells. The interstitial cells are also called as Leydig cells. Its main function is it produces the male hormone, that is testosterone. The interstitial cell is also called as Leydig cells and it produces the male hormone, that is testosterone. Sperm producing cells of the seminiferous tubules keep multiplying and produce sperms. The mature sperm pass into a small network of tube. From the network arise 12 to 14 ducts, that is called efferent ducts, which join a small tubular knot, that is called epididymis. Epididymis is a fitting like a cap on the upper pole of the testis. The epididymis is continued by the side of the testis up to its back, from where a distinct tube sperm duct arises.
So this epididymis, it form a cap-like structure over the testes, then it join into the sperm duct. The epididymis stores the sperms for some days during which they mature and become motile, means become capable of moving. Up to the becoming to mature and capable of moving, it is present in the epididymis region. Structure of testes. Each testis is encased in a capsule which is internally partitioned into 15 to 20 lobules or segments. In the testis, we can see 15 to 20 lobules or segments. The first, seminiferous tubule. The seminiferous tubules, they are the tubules, they produce the sperms. So in the diagram, you can observe yellow color. In the lobules, the coil-like structures are there. That is called seminiferous tubule. Its main function, it produces the sperm. The process of production of sperm is called spermatogenesis. The process of production of sperm is called spermatogenesis. In the seminiferous tubule, the production of the sperm takes place. Next, interstitial cells. Interstitial cells are the cells which are packing tissues between the coils of seminiferous tubule. Between the coils there is a gap is there, so it is filled by the interstitial cells. The interstitial cells are also called as Leydig cells. Its main function is it produces the male hormone, that is testosterone. The interstitial cell is also called as Leydig cells and it produces the male hormone, that is testosterone. Sperm duct. It is called vas deferens. So this sperm duct from each testis travels upward into the abdomen, passing through an inguinal canal. Inguinal canal originally is one which allows the descent of testes along with their ducts, blood vessels and nerves. Through the inguinal canal, the testis is descent. Along with the testis, some ducts, blood vessels and nerves also descent. That is in the inguinal canal. The two sperm ducts loop over the ureters of their side, come together and join the median duct or urethra at the back of the urinary bladder.
Next, accessory glands. A few important accessory glands are located with the male reproductive system. They secrete different fluids which together with the sperms form the semen. Here, what are the secretions are there from the accessory glands? It combines with the sperm, then it becomes a whitish or light yellowish color fluid that is called as a semen. Semen nothing but is the secretions of accessory glands and the sperm. Together is called semen. There are three types of glands we can see. First one, seminal vesicles, next prostate gland, next corpus gland. First one is seminal vesicle. The seminal vesicles are a pair of lobulated glands, each opening into the corresponding sperm duct just before they unite with the urethra. You know, the sperm duct then join to the urethra region. Before joining the sperm duct to the urethra region, this seminal vesicles is connected to the sperm duct. The seminal vesicles produces a secretion which serves as a medium for the transportation of the sperms. Here, what are the secretions are there? That secretions, it helpful for the sperm for the transportation. The seminal vesicles, it secretes the fluid into the The fluid when mixes with the sperms will get a medium for the transportation. Then sperms can transport very easily. So seminal vesicles, it is a lobulated glands. It is connected to the sperm duct. When the sperm duct is connected to the urethra. Before connecting to the urethra region, the sperm duct receives these seminal vesicles. Next, prostate gland. At the base of the urinary bladder, encircling the urethra, a gland is there. That gland is called prostate gland. It is present at the base of the urinary bladder and circling the urethra region. Its main function is it secretes the alkaline secretion. This alkaline secretion is poured into this sperm and as it passes through the urethra. So, prostate gland, its main function is alkaline secretion. This alkaline secretion, it neutralizes the acids which are present in the vagina region of the female body. In the copulation, the semen enters inside the vagina region. So, if there some acids are there, so that acids is neutralized by this alkaline secretion. So, prostate gland, what it secretes the alkaline secretion, then it mixes with the sperm and it passes through the urethra. Next, corpus glands. The corpus glands are two small ovoid glands found below the prostate gland. Just below the prostate gland, we can see the corpus gland. And the secretion of these glands serve as a lubricant. So, whatever the secretions are there in the corpus gland, so it acts as a lubricant. Means it helps for the easy passage of this sperm. So, whatever the secretions are there in these accessory glands and the sperm together is called as a semen. Next, urethra. It is a small duct that passes through the penis. Semen from the testes passes through it. Here it is a small duct. It passes through the penis and the semen from the testes, it is also passes through the urethra region. Next, penis. The penis is the male reproductive organ through which the semen is released. Both urine and semen passes through the penis. The penis is a part of the male reproductive organ, and through the penis both the urine as well as the semen will pass. So it is called as urinogenital canal because it passes the both urine as well as the semen. So that is it's called as urinogenital canal.